This video is about the three-body problem series. Warning, spoilers ahead. In this series, Three Body is a VR game played by the main characters. And like many good games, this one reflects reality. But whose reality? Now, that will be another video. This video is a summary of the theories that eventually solved the three-body game. Warning, major spoilers ahead, and I recommend you stop watching now if you have not read or watched Three-Body Problem. This video will uncover the mysterious goal of the game by recapping how the puzzle pieces all come together. Let's first set the scene of the world. The world is a dark and desolate plain with rocks and boulders here and there dotted over the landscape. There is no moonlight or sunlight, nothing to cast a glow over the land or to provide warmth, and it is freezing. There is nowhere to go or to shelter, and no animals or plants to eat. The world waits for the sun to come out in the morning, but it never comes. In fact, it doesn't come for days and weeks and however long it may be. One day, the sun appears in the sky, small and bluish white. But the day doesn't last too long, and in a mere few hours, the sun sets again, plunging the world back into darkness. A few days later, only measurable by the long passage of time, dawn actually came again. But this time, the sun that rose was gigantic, almost taking up half the sky. The land got warm and toasty for a little bit, but that quickly turned to scorching hot as the sun lit the land ablaze in a fiery wave of flames. The world vacillates between extreme cold and extreme heat, and each can last as short or as long as it wants. These are the conditions of a chaotic era. Living in such a world is clearly difficult. There seems to be no pattern to the skies. Yet, once in a while, a stable era brings patterns and predictability to the world, gracing it with favorable conditions for life. A sun rises every day, the seasons are good for crops, and mild temperatures are good for living. But a chaotic era can burst through the stability at any moment. How does civilization survive these conditions? Well, that's for another video. Now we'll summarize all the data observed and call each of them a celestial observation. The first is the sun's irregular pattern. It could rise or it could not. There is no guarantee. Second, the sun changes sizes. And third, the sun changes in brightness. The sun can be small or huge, dim or blinding. Fourth, the sun's shape can also change. Once, the sun rose to the middle of the sky and then gradually dimmed, becoming smaller and then going out all of a sudden. A flying star suddenly appeared, replacing the exact location of the sun. Another celestial observation is flying stars. Sometimes, one flying star appears across the sky, and that doesn't really mean too much. In rare cases, two flying stars would appear and fly across the sky together, and that is a rare blessing from heaven. Whenever that happens, it means that a stable era is about to begin. In extremely rare cases, three flying stars might fly across the sky together, but that is a terrible sign. When that happens, it means that there will be a long period of extreme cold. Lastly, historians and scientists have tried to record the sun's movement to derive predictions of stable eras, so there are existing data records, but no pattern has been found. With these celestial observations laid out, let's move on to discussing some theories that seek to explain these observations. Theory 1. One sun god. Now, this theory is more like a myth. The myth says the sun is a god of many tempers. When the god is awake, he has mood swings, and therefore there are chaotic eras. When the god is asleep, his breaths are even, and so these are the stable eras. If civilization can hypnotize the god and make him always sleep, then they could always have stable eras. This might explain the sun's irregular pattern, but it doesn't explain any of the other celestial observations. So, moving on to theory 2. Two spheres. The universe is two hollow spheres floating in the middle of a sea of fire. The outer sphere has one large hole so that firelight can get through it. The inner sphere has many tiny holes, and the inside surface of that sphere is the sky. The light from the fire goes through that one large hole from the outer sphere and scatters across the small holes on the inner sphere to form starlight. The sun is the direct light that comes through the large hole that focuses on one area of the inside sphere's surface, and the light that comes through looks like the sun. These two spheres move in irregular motion, causing irregular sunrises. The sea of fire is also turbulent, and its fluctuating conditions cause the two spheres to shrink or expand, therefore changing the size and brightness of the sun. Now, this is a pretty convincing theory, and as we can see, it does explain the sun's irregular pattern, the different sizes of the sun, and the brightness of the sun. However, it does not explain why the sun may suddenly shrink in place and how a flying star replaces it. In fact, it really does not address what flying stars are at all. What could they be? How do they appear if all the stars have already been accounted for by that inner sphere in this theory? Finally, although this model seeks to mathematically record and predict the sun's movements, its predictions of the sun still failed, as the world burned even though it predicted a stable era. Theory 3. Three bodies. The planet orbits three suns, or three celestial bodies. When there is only one body, like our solar system's sun, planets are able to orbit it in a very stable way. If there are two stars, they form a stable system, keeping each other in place. But when there are three bodies, their gravitational attraction interacting with each other makes their movements unpredictable, and therefore chaotic. This explains each celestial observation made in the three-body game, and let's get into how. The sun's irregular pattern is explained by the planet's orbit around the three suns. When two of the suns are far away enough, the planet is able to revolve around just one sun in a stable orbit, hailing a coveted stable era. But when two or more suns pull on the planet, their gravitational fields make the planet move in an unstable way, causing chaotic eras. So, when it's not a stable era, it is a chaotic era. The sun's differences in size, color, and brightness are because there are three different suns, and at any given time, you might see a different one. The distance away from the sun also affects its size. The sun can appear to shrink because it has a dense inner core, but a sparse gaseous outer layer. And when the sun reaches a certain threshold of distance away from the planet, the gaseous outer layer becomes invisible, and only the inner core is still visible. At that distance, the inner core is the same size as a flying star. And the mystery of the flying stars are that they're actually the suns. When two flying stars appear in the sky, it means that two of the suns are very far away, and therefore a stable era will occur because only one sun is near enough for the planet to orbit in a stable manner. When three flying stars appear in the sky, it means that all three stars are far away, and that is really bad news because it means that the planet will be in a very long period of extreme cold. As for records of three suns appearing in the sky together all at once, it has not been recorded, but it has definitely happened. But in those rare cases, anyone alive to see it would have died from the heat within seconds. Two suns have been recorded, however, even though that was already scorching hot enough. And having three suns in the solar system explains why scientists and historians have had no avail in predicting the sun's movement with accuracy all along. With all these observations satisfied, the game confirms this theory as fact. The basic structure of the universe is three suns and one planet that orbits them all. And so the three-body problem is the problem of the sun's movement. And unfortunately, the problem cannot seem to be solved. What does that mean for the civilization here? Should they be doomed to live in this hell forever, or should they try to go somewhere new, somewhere that enables their civilization to survive and thrive? The three-body game has been solved, but the three-body problem is not solved. But hey, aren't we lucky? We live in a solar system on a world with one sun. We are safe. But wait, are we? Now that's for another video. Thank you for watching.